Let us imagine that you and your family have decided to take a trip down south to the Sunshine State and the hedonistic haven that is South Florida. What would your dream beach getaway entail? Would you bask in the golden rays on the pristine sands of Miami Beach, explore the vibrant Wynwood district with its colorful murals and trendy galleries, or indulge in the high-end shopping and dining experiences of Brickell? Perhaps you'd head up for a few nights in the sumptuous surroundings of the Breakers Hotel in Palm Beach, captivated by the opulence and elegance that define this region. However, as you enjoy your dream getaway, you might unknowingly be basking in the luxurious legacy of one old money family who built the very foundation of the tropical haven known as Florida. Indeed, when Standard Oil co-founder Henry Flagler, yes, the right-hand man of none other than John D. Rockefeller himself, first stepped foot in the Miami area, there was little but untamed wilderness. In today's episode of Old Money Luxury, we'll share how Flagler and his descendants put the shine in the Sunshine State as we describe the Flaglers, the old money family who built Miami, and Florida itself. During the early 20th century, the Flagler family amassed a jaw-dropping fortune, all thanks to the brilliant and occasionally ruthless business maneuvers of Henry Morrison Flagler. By the time he checked out in 1913, his estate was worth a cool $100 million, which today would be an eye-watering $12.5 billion. And Flagler made his first pot of gold co-founding Standard Oil with the legendary world's richest man of all time, John D. Rockefeller. Using his cunning rebate system and a knack for strategic partnerships, Standard Oil became the behemoth of American oil refining, cranking out 10,000 barrels a day by 1872. And this oil-fueled cash cow was just the beginning for Flagler's grand ambitions. Furthermore, Henry Flagler's legacy is etched all over Florida, and even in parts of North Carolina. In fact, in the Sunshine State, you can't throw a rock without hitting something named after him. Flagler County, born in 1917, includes the cities of Bunnell and Palm Coast, and in St. Augustine, the Hotel Ponce de Leon, now Flagler College, stands as a monument to Flagler's luxurious vision. Opened in 1888, this opulent hotel is a marvel of Spanish Renaissance architecture, with interiors so lavish they'd make a sultan blush. Nearby, the Hotel Alcazar, another of Flagler's brainchildren, now houses the Leitner Museum, offering a glittering glimpse into the Gilded Age with its eclectic array of artifacts. The swanky Palm Beach, Florida, is home to Whitehall, Flagler's 75-room mansion, completed in 1902. This Beaux-Arts beauty, now the Henry Morrison Flagler Museum, showcases the grandeur of Flagler's lifestyle and his substantial contributions to the region's development. And then there's the Breakers, a legendary resort in Palm Beach. Modeled after an Italian Renaissance-style villa, it opened in 1896 and instantly became the darling of the wealthy elite. The Breakers still stands, one of the few grand hotels still family-owned, specifically by the Keenan family, who are Flagler's descendants. Additionally, Miami itself owes much of its early growth to Flagler and his Royal Palm Hotel, which opened in 1897. By extending his railroad to Miami and building essential infrastructure like streets and utilities, Flagler laid the groundwork for the city's explosive development. But Flagler's influence even stretches to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where the prestigious Keenan Flagler Business School bears his name, as well as that of his third wife, Mary Lily Keenan. Furthermore, as a titan of the Gilded Age, Flagler's personal possessions were as grand as his business ventures. His art collection, for example, boasted over 180 paintings, which were displayed in his palatial residences. But Flagler's artistic flair didn't stop at paintings. He commissioned famed glassmaker Louis Comfort Tiffany, yes, as in that Tiffany's, to create stunning stained glass windows for the Hotel Ponce de Leon. These intricate, vibrant windows were a true marvel of craftsmanship, adding even more grandeur to an already opulent hotel. And jewelry. Oh, Flagler and his wives had that in spades. One of his most beloved possessions was a white Maltese terrier named Delos, considered by Flagler to be a treasure, and he even had a portrait painted of himself with Delos. showcasing the deep bond he had with his pampered pooch. Beyond art and jewels, Flagler indulged in other luxuries like his private railcar, number 91. This lavishly appointed railcar was a symbol of his power and influence, allowing him to travel in comfort and style along the Florida East Coast Railway, which he himself built. However, at this point, you're probably wondering how a little-known oil tycoon from up north came to build one of the most multicultural and forward-thinking parts of the United States, Miami and the greater Florida region, in just a few short years. In order to get our answer, we'll have to start at the very roots of the Flagler dynasty, which takes us back to the foggy, windswept plains of Germany. The Flagler family's journey from the Palatinate region of southwestern Germany to the United States is nothing short of an epic. You see, it all began with Zachariah Flagler, who first set foot in Walworth, England, before making his way to America in 1710. The family eventually planted their roots in Dutchess County, New York, with the surname Flagler anglicized to Flagler by Henry's grandfather, Solomon. Now, Henry Morrison Flagler was born on the 2nd of January 1830 in Hopewell, New York, and his father, Isaac Flagler, served as a Presbyterian minister, while his mother, Elizabeth Caldwell Harkness, brought 2 sons from her previous marriage to Dr. David Harkness of Milan, Ohio. Thus, when Elizabeth married Isaac, her sons Daniel and Stephen became part of the Flagler clan. In particular, Henry Flagler's half-brother, Daniel Morrison Harkness, born in 1822, faced a whirlwind of changes early on. After his father's death in 1825, Daniel and his mother moved back to New York to live with her in-laws. This period was marked by frequent moves and evolving family dynamics. Elizabeth's marriage to Isaac Flagler expanded the family to include Henry, born in 1830, and another sibling, Carrie. In 1837, Daniel, seeking stability and opportunity, decided to stay with his uncle Lamon G. Harkness in Bellevue, Ohio, rather than move with his new Flagler family. This decision marked the start of his business career, working in his uncle's store in Republic, Ohio, and laying the groundwork for his future entrepreneurial ventures. Subsequently, Henry Flagler's early years were closely linked with those of his half-brother Daniel. At the age of 14 in 1844, Henry moved to Ohio to join Daniel, 7 years after Daniel had left the Flaglers, who was already working there. He began his working life in his uncle's store at a modest salary of $5 per month, plus room and board. This early move was pivotal for Henry, as it introduced him to the business world, and by 1849, his diligence and growing skills earned him a promotion to the sales staff, with a salary increase to $40 per month, equal to around $1,600 monthly today. However, the 1860s brought a setback when Henry's foray into the salt mining industry with the Flagler and York Salt Company in Saginaw, Michigan, failed due to the disruptions of the Civil War. Despite this failure, Henry's entrepreneurial spirit remained strong, and a defining moment came in 1867 when John D. Rockefeller sought capital for his burgeoning oil business. Sensing a golden opportunity, Henry secured a $100,000 investment, equal to around $21 million today, from his half-brother Stephen V. Harkness. This investment paved the way for a partnership between Rockefeller, Andrews, and Flagler, with Henry managing Harkness's interests. Thus began Henry Flagler's meteoric rise in the business world, laying the foundation for his future successes and a career that would end with the creation of none other than the great state of Florida and the monumental city of Miami. Now, as we've learned, Henry Flagler's plunge into the oil industry followed a roller coaster of business ventures, including a failed salt enterprise and a successful grain commission business. But the real twist in his story came when he, John D. Rockefeller, and others evolved into the powerhouse known as the Standard Oil Corporation, officially incorporated in Ohio in 1870. And Flagler, with his keen business strategies, played a pivotal role in the early success of Standard Oil. His knack for negotiating rebates from railroads gave the company a competitive edge, allowing it to outmaneuver rivals and dominate the market. And his business acumen was evident in securing deals like the one with the Lakeshore Railroad for a discounted rate in exchange for a guaranteed volume of oil shipments. This deal not only slashed Standard Oil's transportation costs, but also made life tough for competitors who couldn't match the scale of Standard Oil's operations. By the late 1880s, Standard Oil commanded 90% of the oil refining market in the United States, and its dominance wasn't just about size, it was about efficiency and relentless innovation. The company's practices, though, didn't sit well with everyone, leading to the birth of antitrust laws aimed at curbing monopolistic power. Yet, the legacy of Standard Oil's strategies and innovations reshaped the oil industry and laid the groundwork for modern corporate practices. Soon, Flagler's fortune didn't rest solely on oil. In the 1880s, he diversified his investments, setting his sights on Florida. This shift was partly driven by personal reasons. His first wife, Mary, had fallen ill, and the couple traveled to Florida for her health. Quickly sensing opportunity in the sunny, underdeveloped region, Flagler dreamed of transforming the state into a premier tourist destination and began pouring money into infrastructure and real estate. Now, Henry Flagler, by then renowned as a co-founder of Standard Oil and one of America's wealthiest men, embarked on a grand project to develop Florida's East Coast in the late 19th century. In 1885, he acquired the Jacksonville, St. Augustine and Halifax River Railway, a modest line in northeastern Florida. And this purchase marked the first step in Flagler's vision to create a transportation network that would open the region to tourism and development. Flagler quickly converted the railway to standard gauge and began expanding southward, driven by his belief in Florida's potential as a winter resort. Determined to create an American Riviera, Flagler set out to construct a series of lavish hotels along the East Coast, each one more extravagant than the last. And the jewel of Flagler's hotel empire was the Ponce de Leon Hotel in St. Augustine, completed in 1888. This marvel of Spanish Renaissance architecture featured 540 rooms, intricate terracotta detailing, and the first ever use of poured concrete in a large-scale building. Designed by renowned architects John Carrere and Thomas Hastings, the hotel exemplified Flagler's commitment to luxury and grandeur. Not content with the success of the Ponce de Leon, Flagler continued his spree, building the Alcazar Hotel in St. Augustine in 1889. And the Alcazar, with its Moorish-inspired design, boasted an indoor swimming pool, the largest in the world at the time, and a host of recreational facilities for the wealthy. Then, as Flagler extended his Florida East Coast Railway southward, he brought his vision of opulence to new frontiers. In 1894, he unveiled the Royal Poinciana Hotel in Palm Beach, a six-story Georgian-style structure that quickly became the largest wooden building in the world. With over 1,000 rooms and lavish amenities, the Royal Poinciana set the standard for luxury in the region. Furthermore, in the 1890s, Flagler aimed to extend the railway even further south to the Miami River area, then sparsely populated. Encouraged by local landowner Julia Tuttle and the Brickell family, Flagler agreed to bring his railroad to the region in exchange for land grants. This decision proved wise, as the area's citrus crops survived the devastating freezes of the years 1894 and 1895. Then, Flagler's arrival in 1896 marked the founding of Miami, which he helped develop by dredging a channel, building streets, and financing essential infrastructure like water and power systems. The extension of the Florida East Coast Railway to Miami spurred the city's rapid growth, transforming it from a small settlement into a vibrant metropolis within a few decades. And undeterred by the challenges of traversing the Florida Keys, Flagler embarked on his most ambitious project yet, the Overseas Railroad, also known as the Key West Extension. Constructed between 1905 and 1912, this engineering marvel spanned 128 miles of open water and islands, connecting the mainland to Key West. Specifically, Flagler envisioned the city as a deep-water port and trade hub, capitalizing on its strategic location near the newly constructed Panama Canal. Despite immense costs and engineering difficulties, including hurricanes that threatened to halt the project, Flagler persevered. And though it never achieved the commercial success he hoped for, the Key West extension remains a symbol of Flagler's vision, determination, and lasting impact on Florida's development. However, the legacy of the Flaglers is not all sunshine and rainbows, or should we say in true Floridian fashion, not all sunshine and oranges. His development of this iconic state was mired in controversy through many times in his life, and in the next chapter we'll investigate just that. During his development of Miami and the greater Florida region, Henry Flagler became embroiled in controversy due to his business practices, particularly those involving convict leasing and debt peonage. You see, these practices were part of a broader system of labor exploitation in the southern United States following the Civil War, and convict leasing involved the state leasing prisoners to private companies for labor, while debt peonage forced individuals to work to pay off debts, often under brutal conditions. Consequently, Flagler's involvement in these practices was notable in Florida, where he used convict labor to build his extensive railroad network and develop his hotel empire. Allegations included the use of African American convicts, often arrested under dubious charges due to the Black Codes, a set of laws designed to control and exploit the newly freed black population. These convicts faced harsh working conditions, inadequate food and shelter, and severe punishment, including beatings and whippings. Flagler also faced accusations of debt peonage, where workers, often immigrants, were brought to Florida under contracts requiring them to work off their transportation costs. These workers were frequently trapped in a cycle of debt due to the high costs of living and working conditions imposed by Flagler's companies. Reports indicated that many workers were unable to escape this system, effectively making them slaves to their debts. Thus, public perception of Henry Flagler was deeply divided. Some celebrated him as a visionary who transformed Florida's economy, turning it into a major tourist destination and agricultural hub. His investments in infrastructure, particularly the Florida East Coast Railway, were seen as monumental achievements that spurred economic growth and development in the region. However, the darker aspects of his business practices attracted significant criticism and controversy. Reformers and muckrakers of the time, such as those involved in the Department of Justice investigations, highlighted the inhumane conditions and exploitation inherent in the convict leasing and debt peonage systems. These revelations painted Flagler as a ruthless businessman who prioritized profit over human dignity and welfare. The media played a crucial role in shaping public opinion, with northern newspapers and magazines often condemning Flagler's practices, while many southern publications, some owned or influenced by Flagler, defended him and downplayed the allegations. Yet his direct influence in creating the Sunshine State, and specifically the city of Miami, cannot be denied, and his legacy is still embossed in the buildings, streets and transportation hubs that pepper the local landscape. And Henry Morrison Flagler's first marriage to Mary Harkness in 1853 marked a pivotal chapter in his life, both personally and professionally. Mary, who was Flagler's first cousin, provided a stable and supportive environment that allowed him to focus on his burgeoning career. And the couple had 3 children, Jenny Louise, Carrie, and Harry Harkness. Tragically, their daughter Carrie died at the age of 3, and Jenny Louise later died from complications related to childbirth. These personal losses deeply affected Flagler, but he continued to push forward in his professional endeavors. Furthermore, as mentioned before, Mary's health deterioration over the years prompted Flagler to even consider living in the sparsely populated Florida in the first place. Despite the change in environment, Mary's health sadly did not improve, and she passed away in 1881. Her death was a significant blow to Flagler, but it also indirectly set the stage for his future ventures in Florida. Then, Flagler's second marriage to Ida Alice Shords in 1883 introduced a new set of dynamics and challenges. Ida, who had been Mary's caregiver, initially seemed to be a suitable companion for Flagler. However, her behavior became increasingly erratic and concerning, and Ida's mental health issues began to surface, manifesting in delusions and irrational behavior. She became obsessed with spiritualism and claimed to be in communication with historical figures through a Ouija board. Flagler's response to Ida's deteriorating mental state was to seek medical intervention. And in 1895, she was institutionalized for the first time, and her condition was diagnosed as delusionary insanity. This diagnosis provided Flagler with the grounds to seek a divorce, which was a complicated process at the time. Shockingly, in 1901, Flagler managed to influence the Florida legislature to pass a law that made incurable insanity a valid reason for divorce. This law was specifically tailored to his situation, and he was the only person to benefit from it before it was repealed in 1905. Even more controversially, the divorce allowed Flagler to marry his third wife, and just 10 days after his divorce was finalized, at the age of 71, Flagler married the 34-year-old Mary Lily Keenan, a woman of remarkable beauty and intelligence from a prominent North Carolina family. This union was not just a personal milestone, but also a pivotal moment that would further cement Flagler's legacy. Henry himself passed away in 1913 after a fall at Whitehall, leaving Mary Lily as one of the wealthiest women in America. This wealth, however, did not bring her lasting happiness. In 1916, just 3 years after Henry's passing, she married Robert Worth Bingham, a childhood friend and a North Carolinian socialite. Their marriage, however, was fraught with difficulties and suspicions. Mary Lily's health began to deteriorate shortly after their marriage, and she died under mysterious circumstances in 1917 at the age of 50. The official cause of death was listed as a heart attack, but rumors of foul play persisted, with many speculating that Bingham had a hand in her death to gain access to her fortune. Despite these suspicions, no concrete evidence was ever found to support these claims, leaving her death one of the great unsolved mysteries of the era. But the wealth that Mary Lily inherited from Henry Flagler was substantial, and its distribution after her death had a significant impact on her family and various institutions. Upon her death, the bulk of her estate, valued at around $100 million, equal to more than $10 billion today, was divided among her siblings and other family members. Her brother, William R. Keenan Jr., played a crucial role in managing the estate and ensuring that the wealth was used to support various philanthropic endeavors. And subsequently, the Keenan family used the fortune to establish and support numerous educational and cultural institutions, including the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, which benefited greatly from the Keenan professorships and other endowments funded by the Flagler wealth. Thus, the impact of the Flagler wealth on the Keenan family and the institutions they supported was profound. The Keenan Fund, established with the inheritance, provided crucial financial support during the Great Depression, helping the University of North Carolina to expand its campus offerings and attract high-caliber faculty. The fund also supported faculty pensions and sabbaticals, ensuring the university's continued growth and success during a challenging economic period. Additionally, the wealth was used to support various charitable and cultural programs, leaving a lasting legacy that continued to benefit communities long after Mary Lily's death. As a final note, and this is insider info for fans of the channel, while researching this video, we discovered that the owner of our channel, Old Money Luxury, is a relative of the Keenan family. This makes the topic of old money history uniquely interesting to us. So if you'd like to see a broader video on the Keenan family who helped found modern North Carolina, let us know. But now, it's time for your thoughts in the comments. Are you a native of Miami or the state of Florida? And what connections to the name Flagler have you seen in your life personally? We can't wait to hear from you, and as always, we appreciate your thoughts below. Thanks again for joining, and cheers until next time.